You're listening to KFWB News Talk 980. It's all over the news that Democrats and Republicans have got to work something out, and if they don't, around 9 p.m. tonight, West Coast time, the government is going to shut down. And there's a cost for, a lot of people will not take a stand because there's a price to be paid. You could lose relationships, friendships, you could lose your job, you could lose a lot of things by taking a stand. And that's why most people don't. Most people take counsel from their fears, not from their courage. And fear will ask the question, would I get hurt? Fear would ask the question, and politics, is it safe? Is it popular? But there are some people who say, you know what? This is not right, and I'm not going to do it. And they draw the line, and they just refuse to budge. One such person, Jean in Woodland Hills. Jean, high school teacher, and she was told to change her grade. And what happened, Jean, as a result of you're not willing to do that?
Well, what happened was that I got my assignment changed. I teach one I have a credential to teach two different subject areas.
Yes.
And I'm used to one of them. I really enjoy one of them more than the other.
Yes.
They changed me to work with non-English speaking students, teaching them English. And the principal hoped that I would want to transfer out, but I didn't. And some people asked me if I was miserable, and I would tell them no. My mother said, you know what? Don't ever let them see you be sad. Just put a smile on your face, and when they ask you how's it going, say great.
Mm-hmm.
And I told everyone, I said, you know what? Principals come and go, and I'm going to be here. And that principal was fired.
Is that right? And so he switched you and gave you another assignment, hoping that you would find that so frustrating and become so discouraged that you would leave. And ultimately he was fired. That's I tell you, there's an old song, if you dig a hole for me, you better dig too, because the one you dig for me might be for you. Wow. Listen, I want to know from you, when has that ever happened to you? The number to call is 888-539-2980. You took a stand and it cost you. There's a price to be paid for taking a stand, and there are people, not many, that do that every day. Well, let's talk about that. Number one, in order to take a stand, you've got to decide within yourself that you have some principles that you're not willing to compromise on. I believe in the saying, stand up for what you believe in, because you can fall for anything. What is it that you're not willing to fall for? Because if you allow yourself not to have values, if you allow yourself to be a person that you don't have any strong convictions about anything in particular, then anything goes. Anything goes. And so as you look at yourself, what is it that you value? What is it that gives your life a sense of significance and a sense of meaning? I remember going to Chicago as a motivational speaker over the years. I would go and whenever you're in this kind of business, there are certain people who will just follow you wherever you are, and they will show up. And so I remember coming to this event, and this couple that always showed up whenever I spoke in Chicago, but something was different this time. This time, the husband was on the right side of the room, and the wife was on the left side of the room. And I went over to him. I said, hey, man, why aren't you seated with your wife and kids? And he said, she left me because I don't have anything. I said, whoa, I'm so sorry to hear that. And as I was walking toward her, I heard her say, no, Les, come on over. I said, how you doing? She said, fine. I heard what he said. He told you I left him because he didn't have anything. That's not why I left him. I left him because he didn't want anything. I said, whoa. And what happened, and just talking to them, and I got a chance to talk with them at the end of the program, that she wanted to do something else. She got tired of living in an apartment. She wanted a home, and she was working 2 and 3 jobs, and she was involved in school. He was working the same job. He was not trying to upgrade himself. He had no ambition to do anything beyond looking at the games with his homies, looking at football games and basketball games and playing video games and playing midnight basketball and that kind of craziness. And this woman has some dreams. She said, our children are going to be able to go to college, and we want, if they don't get full ride, we want to be able to give them the choice to what college they're going to go to, and I'm paying the majority of the bills. And see, I'm from the old school. A man's job is to provide and protect. So I understood what she was talking about. But he was not looking ahead. This guy was just satisfied were where he was. And her whole position was, I'm taking a stand here. I'm not going to live a life where we're robbing Peter to pay Paul. We're scuffling and just trying to make it. No. We can do better than this. And I'm about the business of working for what I want. And he was very comfortable. There's some people that's comfortable. And when you're around people who they don't have the same standards that you have, and they don't have any drive, it's like pulling them, it's like dragging them, and you can't convince them. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. What is it you stand for? Here's what we know, that at the end of the day, when you decide those things that have some meaning for you, it's not about whether or not it's popular. It's not about whether or not people are going to speak to you and family members are going to still embrace you, or your children are going to still love you. It really comes down to, how do you feel about you? Can you look you in the eyes? Can you look yourself square in the eyes and say, I felt I did the right thing, and I know it's not popular. I know a lot of folks are upset with me right now. Mary on a budget committee, and they had a budget that was not right. The figures were not what they should have been. And they just said to her, just sign it, it'll be okay. And she said, no, I'm not going to do that. And they stopped speaking to her for months. I'm sure you probably gone through something like that. Melissa, she fell in love, and she thought the guy that she fell in love with loved her, but he didn't. He had an agenda. He wanted some immigration papers. He wanted to become an American citizen, and she was a passport for him. And she became hip to what was going on, filed for divorce. And he said, well, can't you just wait till after I get my immigration papers? And she said, no, I'm getting out of this marriage. I'm getting away from your ugly ways. I'm getting away from your alcoholic mindset. I'm out of here. He wanted her to really give in to his conditions. Look, I won't do anything to rock the boat. Just help me get my immigration papers. And her friends had told her, he's just using you. That's all he's doing. And she couldn't see it. She was in love. She was in love. Fools rush in where wise men never go. She was in love. They say love is a misunderstanding between two fools. She's in love, but she saw that. She was in love, but she said, I'm out of here. I'm not in love no more. She took a stand, and she said, I'm not backing down. I'm taking a stand. I'm out of here. See you. Wouldn't want to be you. Good for you, Melissa. Listen, join us in the next hour. My name is Les Brown. You have something special. You have greatness within you. You owe it to yourself to pursue your greatness, to get out of your head and to get into your greatness. You're listening to KFWB News Talk 980.